In this video, we are going to talk about how to set up Jupyter on Ubuntu system and a little tricky hands-on on Ubuntu terminal, so watch the rest. Hi, my name is Amira and this is AIPRA. In this channel, we help you guys to catch up the moving AI, machine, data science and deep learning car. So if you don't yet, please push that subscribe button below and the little notification beside it, and stay tuned on Fridays for the new videos. Okay, in this video we are going to see how to use and first set up Jupyter on Ubuntu system and how to use them as a data science machine learning tool, and what is the differences between Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab, and why I use Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab, and why I use and prefer Jupyter Lab. So let's go to this. First, here I am in home directory. The home directory in Ubuntu indicates with this tilde, and I want to change my directory to another directory with command cd. This is the first command on Ubuntu you should learn. Cd. I use cd to changing my directory. Okay. I go to AIPRA channel directory. As we can see here, I use ls, that's list for me the items in one directory. So the second command in Ubuntu terminal is ls, the second command ls, as I use here. Okay, this is the directory for the YouTube channel I use. We have a test.py here, so let's go what is in this. I use vi editor, so I use vi, the name of file, to open that file with the editor vi. Okay, I import pandas.pd and read a very simple Python program to read a CSV file. As you can hear, I save this. You can use VS Code and anything you want, but vi, I used to edit small scripts and files with vi editor. It's okay for use with another editors. Write me below in comments what editor do you always or usually use in your programs and projects. I have a user.page view CSV file here. That's a very big size. Let's see the size of this file. AIPRA, as you can see here, this file is 2 gigabytes. Okay, let's run the scripts to read that file, the CSV file with Python. In the channel we have a video that we talk about how to run typical Python programs. You can check the link above. We use Python 3 and the name of the file test.py to run. Okay, we wait the program to read that CSV file here for me. I guess it takes a little time. Okay, it's finally finished, and as you can see here, it takes a very long time to read that file. We don't want this, so this is the main reason we use Jupyter tools. Why? Because we want to run a program many times, and if you have a lot of this file to read on a program, it takes a very long time to run just every time we run the program. And this is the main reason we want to use Jupyter Notebook or Lab. Okay, let's first install Python Jupyter. You can use pip package manager or conda package manager. If you install Python on your system, the pip package manager will install automatically on your system. but if you want to use Conda package manager, you have to install it separately. So I use pip package manager to install pip3 install Jupyter. I hit enter and wait to pip package manager to install the Jupyter, and this will take a little time too. Okay, now the pip package manager installed the Jupyter tools for me. I have one problem with this is the terminal I use, is AIPRA terminal. The path I indicate in my environment won't work in AIPRA terminal, so I have to run them manually. What I mean is, first we have to figure out where is the pip package manager install the packages we want. When you enter pip install some packages, it will install in local. Let's change directory to local. Let's go to home directory first. If you cd alone, it will bring you to home directory. Okay, cd local, you can find this with a search on Google, where pip package manager will install the packages. Local bin, here it is where the pip install the packages. You can see here Jupyter tools, Jupyter kernel, Jupyter lab, Jupyter run, Jupyter notebook, and other stuff. I want to run one by one. Okay, let's go to Jupyter. I want to run them manually, so clear the terminal. Here you can run them manually. Go to local bin and Jupyter. As you can see here, I don't use any before that this directory address. I use just the address of the file. Jupyter notebook, and hit enter will run the Jupyter notebook server. This is something like host and client, server and client. That's this host is on your local. This server, the Jupyter notebook server, is on your local host. As you can see here, let's go to terminal page. Local host port 8888. This is, let's close these tabs. It's opening Jupyter notebook. It's okay. Here's Jupyter notebook environment. As you can see here, this is the directory of your system. I go to my own directory and the channel directory. As you can see here, I have some notebook here. This is the environment that you can use for your project. Okay, let's import the file that we have here. I use pandas again. Pandas as PD. The other advantages of Jupyter, the Jupyter tools, is you have cells here. What I mean here, I import the pandas here, like every cell in Jupyter run with shift enter. If I use shift enter, it will open up a new cell and run the cell above. As you can see here, this is the number that we have run this cell. Okay, this cell is run for the first time, and I want to read that CSV file pd.read. You can hit the tab to see the suggestions. Here is read CSV and the name of the file. What was user underline page? User underline page underline view, I guess that's CSV. If you run this cell for the first time, and this CSV file will put on your program memory, and you can use it later and later and later. You don't run this cell in other program running, you run this cell for once and use it so many times as you want. Like the typical Python import files, it will take a little time, but in other times that you want to use this file, you don't consume your time for loading just a CSV file. Okay, we have import and we can use it so many times. If you don't need to read this file again and again. If you use typical Python program running, you have to run this line every time you run your program. But here, the first time you run this program, you can use it later. This is the main advantage why we use Jupyter tools. Okay, I close these windows and I want to close the server of Jupyter Notebook 2. Yes, and to show you what is the advantages of Jupyter Lab over Jupyter Notebook. Okay, here we have Jupyter Notebook, change it to Jupyter Lab to run Jupyter Lab server. Okay, this is the Jupyter Lab server that you can use. The first advantages of Jupyter Lab is you can have a separate terminal in Jupyter Lab. Like here, I push plus button here. I can use several options that I can see here, like text file, markdown file. We use in the next video markdown, what is markdown file, what is code files. Every cell we can mark these cells as code or markdown. I can open up a terminal separately here. As I use here, I have a terminal here too. This is the first advantages over Jupyter Lab. The second is you can open a CSV file and see an overview of this file. Let's open the CSV file. As you can see here, this is CSV file here. Very easily select button and read an overview of the CSV file that you don't have in Jupyter Notebook. But the other stuff is like the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, I close these two. The trick in Ubuntu terminal that I want to show you to you guys is, let's first clear the terminal. You can define aliases for your terminal. What I mean by aliases, by default, if I say Jupyter here, will run Jupyter Lab server for me. I make alias for Jupyter to run the Jupyter. How you can do this? I show you how you can do this. Close this server. Okay. Every terminal in Ubuntu has a default setting. I use ZCH terminal. If your default custom setting, maybe this is /rc in your system, but in my system I use ZCH, so the setting is ZCH-rc. Maybe in your system is .bashrc. This is the setting of your terminal. I use alias, as you may notify. When I push C and enter will clear my terminal. This the main command is clear, but I make alias for C to be clear, and you can define an alias for Jupyter to be the directory that the pip will install the packages. I use Jupyter alias to that directory. When I release Jupyter, this directory will run. You can, by this syntax, you can define aliases for your terminal. Okay, these are all the things you need to know about Jupyter. In the next videos, we are going to use another tools in Jupyter and the shortcuts for the Jupyter. So stay tuned for the next video. I hope you enjoyed this video and find it helpful. If so, please press like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.